All right, now we get to our conversation of the day where we're looking at the state of the tech industry in Kenya. And joining us is Arnold Ochieng, who is the General Manager for Workforce Africa. Thank you so much for joining us on Business today.
Thank you very much, Calvin.
All right, now let's get right into the conversation and look at this particular industry. The tech industry is evolving, is really evolving rapidly. And when we look at the effects of this rapid evolvement, from where you sit, what is it causing in the industry?
So the evolving of the tech industry, basically what is causing it is a bit in terms of development, in terms of evolution of technology. So definitely in terms of in business aspects, we have where roles are evolving, roles are growing into technology-based kind of roles. We are having systems developed to ensure that businesses are run using kind of a technology-based kind of systems. So basically with that growth and evolution, definitely there has to be a space where somebody has to be doing that to ensure that most processes are kind of like technologist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. And now, what are some of the factors which have contributed to the recent surge in layoffs? Because we've seen a lot of layoffs, especially within the tech industry, and how might this trend even impact the overall job market?
So we can go back to exactly how it started. There was a sudden boom in the tech space. This was due to the rise of the Silicon Valley at that time. You can find that that time there's only the Silicon Bank that was able to fund tech startups because they're able to take up the risk. But now in March last year, that was 2023, they could no longer take up that risk. So the collapse of the Silicon Bank Valley, it led now to most tech startups kind of having difficulties in around raising capital and also raising revenue for themselves. So definitely now with the lack of majorly investments, you'll find that most tech startups are majorly invested on venture capitals. So you'll see there's a reluctance to invest, and if you're unable to have enough capital to run a business, it means that you have to resort to kind of like having a lean team to either manage operations or to just have a lean team just to ensure that you're not overspending what you don't currently have.
Yeah. And even as we look at this year, is it a trend that you think will continue? Because of course it's still evolving. We have now AI coming in. So when we look at this year, is it something that is going to be continuing, the layoffs, the many people, now many companies, and now that you've mentioned startups, many startups don't usually make it maybe after 1 year or 2 years, a majority of them. So is it a trend that is going to continue?
To say the least, it can continue or not continue depending on how businesses are able to structure themselves and how they're able to support themselves in the evolving economy. So definitely things around the global economic recession is kind of causing a bit of these organizations or startups to kind of try and see how best to be able to contain the change in the economic weather. However, when business are able to take up certain measures in terms of how do I ensure that my team or the team that I have in my organization, you're able to retain them. So you have to look for ways, either by giving them a restructured kind of roles in the organization, or by just putting them, reorganizing the type of workforce that you kind of have to ensure that each and every party is accommodated during this change. But in the long run, most startups or most organizations will be able now to weather the storm. And we are projecting probably as the year goes, it might actually stabilize and the layoffs might kind of reduce.
All right. And it's interesting that you've spoken about companies trying to retain their people, trying to make sure that their people are well taken care of. And now, speaking about people, when you look at hiring now, many companies, when they want to hire, how are they now restructuring their mode in order for it to fit what is happening in the tech industry?
So probably when hiring now, organizations kind of look like what is the overall organization strategy that they're looking at in the long run. So when companies are being set up, they normally structure around either a 3 to 5 year kind of strategic plan. So definitely when they're coming into that, they have to look at what are the key role areas that they're able to accommodate within the strategy or within the plan. So as companies or organizations are setting up those kind of plans, they look at avenues in case of either an economic downside or an economic upside, they're still able to survive in such environments. So you'll find that certain roles are able to be combined into one, to ensure that in case there's a change in the environment, they're still able to retain the people. They focus on upskilling and reskilling within the team members, ensuring that if there's a change of a role, or probably a role that was needed 2 years ago is not required in the next 3 years, the person holding such roles are able to be reskilled in a way that they're able to transition seamlessly into the next role without necessarily being let go of kind of that position. So basically, it's about how do you accommodate your organization structure in a way that it's able to project business in the next 3 to 5 years. Yeah.
Even as companies now are re-strategizing, make sure that they accommodate this, someone who's looking for a job in this particular sector, what does this mean to them? How do they now make sure that they fit into what a company is looking for?
So for the job seekers in the current market, you'll find that there's a bit of a lot of information around that, around how do you package yourself in terms of your skill set. So recently we have people graduating in the year that ended. So definitely those are kind of the skills that are still in the open market, waiting to be absorbed in the job market. So there are certain situations where you need to, how do you start skilling yourself with the job market that is relevant to whatever is offered in the market. Definitely there's some kind of opportunities that might come by that. You'll find that those are not the skills that were properly or not undertaken during the university period. So as a job seeker, there are certain key skills that you need to expose yourself in terms of how do I get some of these skills, whether it's an online kind of education platform, whether it's a kind of project-based kind of platform that you're able to teach yourself kind of these skills so that you're able to be marketable to the next job that you're looking for.
All right, and now let's move on and look at some of the specific skills which are now high in demand in the tech industry. As we've spoken earlier when we were starting the conversation, we were looking at massive layoffs, we were looking at this. So what skills are there in demand at this time, currently?
Currently, in the tech space, a lot of skills that are in demand you'll find around the developer space, because you'll find that anything that, any process that an organization looks to set up in the tech space, they'll need somebody who is able to develop it. So you'll find developers, you have either front-end or back-end developers, and then when you're looking at all this development, they need somebody who are able to design kind of these structures. So there's something that we call tech structures or tech design. So within those tech designs, there are people who are able to tell those user stories. So if you're probably developing a product or you're developing a service that's supposed to be a tech kind of service, you need to come up with a user story that is able now to able to sell to the people that you're looking to sell to. So with that kind of skill, like around the designing and the graphics and all that, is able to accommodate such of kind of skills. Yeah.
All right, and now let's also look at how can individuals make sure that they remain competitive? When you get into this particular kind of market, everyone is there. Everyone is in the tech industry. Everyone wants to start their own thing which is connected to tech. So how do you remain competitive when you enter in such a market?
One thing about the tech space is that you gain experience with how many projects you're able to handle. Because you find the tech kind of guys, there are a lot of various skills that are involved in probably doing a few other things. So if you're able to get a few projects that you're able to do concurrently, those are the projects that are able to market how strong or how proficient you are in a certain skill. So exposing yourself to projects, right now we have something called the gig economy. So the gig economy is where you're able to tap into these short-term projects that most organizations are looking to undertake. So they don't necessarily want full-time employees, but they want people who are able to undertake the project. So putting yourself out there, doing those projects, builds your rapport in the kind of that skill set, and also builds your skill set in the different aspects. So if you're able to grow your space around that kind of field, you're able now to market yourself more and also be able to expose yourself more as an expert in a certain either code language or in a different kind of tech space.
Yeah. All right, and now, in light with the ongoing technological advancements, of course, as we move on, how crucial is continuous upskilling of both existing and also aspiring tech professionals when you look at staying relevant in the job market? How do you upskill? If you have a certain skill, how do you improve it in order for you now to be relevant in an existing market like what we have right now?
As I mentioned in the previous conversation, that with the tech space, skills evolve, and in terms of also roles evolve. The kind of language that was being studied probably in 2019 or 2018 has kind of also evolved up to last year. So definitely, when you are growing in a certain role, organizations have to put measures around how do you ensure that they're able to support the team that they're having to grow to the next skill level. That also gives the organization a base of business continuity in terms of ensuring that they still retain the same team, and they're still able to accommodate the same team, because they ensure that this team is skilled with the next kind of language that is required, is skilled with the next kind of expertise that is required as the organization also evolves into the next kind of space.
All right, Arnold, let us look at a different issue. When it comes to economic factors,
Sure.
and how they influence this particular employment landscape, what is the effect, especially when it comes to employment? Does the economy and the economic factors that we have, from where you sit and also from what you usually tackle almost all the time, how is it affecting employment, Arnold?
True, economy affects not only employment, affects our daily routine in everything that we do. You'll find for any business to survive, they depend heavily on what is the current economic state of the region they're operating in. Right now, we are having the issues around the housing levy and all that. So those are extra kind of costs that employers are supposed to bear on behalf of employees. So when such economic decisions are made, they indirectly affect how a business is run, given that for any business to survive, there has to be a cost of running the business. So if the economy is not stable enough or there is not favorable enough to a different kind of organization, then you'll find that the organization cannot survive in such an economy. It will either try and weather the storm by trying to a few other activities to make it survive. But if they're not able to survive, it means now they have to let go of their key staff or their key workforce in order to survive. And at times, in the eventuality, some of them close up business because the economic factors are too harsh for them. Also, if the economy is thriving, it means there's a cash flow within the economy. It means now everybody has a higher purchasing power and everybody is able to transact business. So which means business are able to operate efficiently without necessarily looking at high cost of living and the likes.
Okay. Yeah. All right, Arnold, even as we now come to a close of this conversation, when we look at the tech industry going forward, now that we have innovations, we have AI, we have all this, and some people usually say, okay, this AI is coming to just take our jobs. So when you look at this particular sector going forward and the immense growth that it has had for now the past 2 years, or 3 years, what are we looking at in terms of growth, and how are we as a country going to position ourselves in a place where we can profit from this particular sector?
We cannot run away from technology. Yes. In the end. So our role right now is as the technology is evolving, is how to adapt to it. AI cannot take up every job right now. Yeah. So is how best do you position yourself as a person in the market to ensure that you are also well skilled enough, because at the end of the day, even for the AI, there are certain aspects that you'll find a bit of flaws in it, but you still need the support of the of the human brain, and also the human brain is the one who developed the AI. So for us to evolve, there are certain skills that we need to be open to learning new things. Evolution will take place, because where we are in terms of technology was not the same place we are 10 years ago in 2004. So definitely there are certain changes that will happen along the way, even in the coming 10 or 15 years. So the major contribution that each and every person in this space to the evolution is just to ensure that they need to equip themselves to at least learning a few more skills, and so that they're able to adapt to the changes in the environment and changes in the technological space. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Arnold, for joining us in this conversation. That is Arnold Ocheng, who is the General Manager at Workforce Africa, speaking to us about the tech industry in Kenya and what are some of the when you look at this particular sector, what are some of the trends that are going to shape the sector in 2024? And you've heard it, AI is not coming in to just strip people of their jobs, but is coming in to make the job even better. All right, we're going to go for a short break, but when we come back, we're going to speak about e-commerce, and we are going to look at the business of e-commerce and how social media is coming in to help with the expansion even of this particular sector. So don't go too far. We'll be back with more.